power is never clean. Behind every handshake lies betrayal, and under every barrel of oil is a secret buried deep enough to ruin lives. Landman Season 2 doesn't just return with drama, it comes back with vengeance, exposing the dark truths that the powerful would kill to protect. Season 2 of Landman throws us back into a world where wealth is measured not in dollars, but in control. Control of land, control of resources, and control of people. This is not just about oil drilling or fracking. It's about ambition, greed, and survival in a game where one wrong move can cost everything. At the center of this storm stands Tommy Norris, a man torn between his family and the unforgiving oil patch that never lets him breathe. He knows the dangers of this business better than anyone. He's seen men lose their lives, families shatter, and friendships rot under the weight of dirty deals. But in Season 2, Tommy's past mistakes and hidden alliances come back to haunt him, and this time, he may not have the strength to bury them. The new season explores a side of Texas few dare to reveal, the side where corporate giants, politicians, and ruthless landowners manipulate everything to maintain their power. Beneath the surface lies a dangerous truth. The race for oil is not just about drilling into the ground, it's about drilling into the very souls of those desperate enough to fight for their share. And as the battle lines are drawn, Tommy realizes that survival is no longer about pumping oil. It's about outsmarting those who want to see him fall. But Tommy isn't the only one with demons. Nate, his longtime rival and occasional ally, finds himself entangled in a power struggle that could ignite an all-out war. He knows the cost of pushing too hard, yet he cannot stop. The promise of wealth and influence drives him, even as it threatens to destroy the fragile ties holding his family together. And in the shadows, powerful corporations wait like vultures, ready to swoop in and claim what remains of the land, no matter who has to bleed for it. What makes Season 2 gripping is not just the power games, it's the secrets. Every character is hiding something. Every deal carries a hidden price. From whispers of corruption in the courts to backroom deals with politicians, the web only grows tighter. Families are split apart, loyalty is tested, and those who dare to trust will find betrayal waiting just around the corner. The oil fields have always been dangerous, but in this season, the true danger comes not from the ground, but from the people who would burn everything to protect what's theirs. And then comes the greatest threat of all, the truth. Secrets that have been buried for years start to surface, threatening to shatter reputations and legacies. Tommy finds himself caught in the middle of a conspiracy that stretches far beyond the oil patch, pulling in powerful figures who will stop at nothing to silence him. But silence has never been Tommy's strength. With everything to lose and even more to protect, he's forced to decide whether he will play their game or rewrite the rules altogether. Season 2 of Landman is not just a continuation, it's an escalation. The stakes are higher, the betrayals cut deeper, and the shadows grow darker with each passing moment. For Tommy and those around him, every decision matters. One wrong step could mean ruin, and one secret revealed could unravel everything they've built. The oil may fuel their lives, but the lies are what truly keep the fire burning. If Season 1 showed us the cost of chasing oil, Season 2 strips away the mask to reveal the cost of keeping it. The deeper Tommy tries to hold on to what he has built, the more he realizes that the system around him is rigged. Not just the oil wells, but the people who profit from them. The land isn't just dirt and rock. It's currency, and everyone who touches it wants to own a piece. This season drags Tommy into battles he never wanted to fight. His family becomes a target, not just emotionally, but strategically. The enemies he made in Season 1 are not gone. They're smarter, angrier, and more determined to break him. Every whispered conversation carries weight. Every handshake hides a blade. And as much as Tommy wants to protect his daughter and give her a life away from this chaos, the reality is that the sins of his world bleed into his home. Land doesn't just swallow oil, it swallows families. But the most dangerous enemy is not always the one across the table. Sometimes it's the one sitting right beside you. Nate's hunger for control pushes him further into darkness. He sees opportunity where others see ruin, and he's willing to risk everything to claim it. For Nate, betrayal is not personal, it's business. Yet, his relentless pursuit of power begins to crack the very foundations of his life. His allies start questioning his loyalty, and his family feels the weight of being second to his ambition. The rivalry with Tommy, once a competition of pride, becomes a war for survival where the loser won't just walk away, they'll be buried. At the same time, corporations hover above them, like predators circling wounded prey. These are not men in cowboy hats and dusty boots. They are executives in suits with polished smiles and bottomless pockets. They see Texas not as home, but as territory to carve and consume. Their influence stretches into courtrooms, banks, and even political offices. With one signature, they can wipe out livelihoods. With one phone call, they can bury scandals. And Tommy learns quickly that fighting against them is like standing against a storm. It doesn't matter how strong you are, the storm always wins. Yet Tommy is not a man who bends easily. He knows that his fight is dangerous, but he also knows that walking away would mean surrendering everything he's ever stood for. His determination puts him on a collision course with forces that play dirtier than anything he's faced before. It's not just contracts and land deeds anymore. It's blackmail, threats, and blood on the ground. For Tommy, the lines between business, morality, and survival blur until he can no longer tell where one ends and the other begins. And then come the secrets, the kind that burn hotter than oil. Old deals resurface, names long forgotten return, and whispers of corruption spill out into the open. The people who once appeared untouchable start to tremble, and those who thought they were in control discover that their own skeletons are being dragged out of the closet. Tommy realizes that the land isn't just cursed by greed, it's haunted by choices made long before he ever set foot on it. What makes Season 2 so gripping is that the power struggles are no longer just about money. They're about legacy, survival, and identity. Every character is forced to confront who they truly are when the masks fall away. For Tommy, it's about whether he can still be a father while fighting to stay alive in a world that wants him destroyed. For Nate, it's about whether ambition is worth losing everything he claims to love. For the corporations, it's about proving that power isn't taken, it's bought. And for the families caught in between, it's about surviving in a place where hope is as rare as clean water in the desert. The oil patch has always been dangerous, but in Season 2, it becomes something more. It becomes a battlefield where only the ruthless will survive. Every choice carries weight, every betrayal cuts deeper, and every truth revealed could set off an explosion more powerful than any drill. For Tommy and those around him, this is not just a fight for oil. It's a fight for their lives, their families, and their very souls. Every empire built on secrets eventually starts to crack, and in Landman Season 2, those cracks spread faster than anyone expects. Tommy discovers that the real fight isn't just in the oil fields or in dusty courtrooms. It's in the shadows where decisions are made long before the contracts are signed. Whispers of corruption swirl around him, and the more he digs, the more he realizes that what he thought were rivalries between men like himself and Nate are only pieces of a much larger game. The corporations aren't just after land. They're after control of the future. Hidden behind polished boardrooms and smooth-talking executives are men willing to burn everything for profit. They fund politicians who pretend to care about the people, but in truth, every campaign donation is just another chain tying them to the oil giants. Laws are rewritten, loopholes are created, and entire towns are left to rot so long as the money keeps flowing. For Tommy, this isn't just business, it's personal. He has buried friends because of the shortcuts these companies take, and now he sees their greed closing in on his family. But what makes this season so dangerous is not just corporate greed, it's betrayal from within. Tommy begins to realize that the people he trusts most may have been working against him all along. Allies who once stood by his side now avoid his calls, and promises made in confidence begin to surface in conversations he was never meant to hear. The oil patch has always been filled with liars, but now the lies come from those closest to him, making every step forward feel like walking blindfolded into a minefield. Nate, meanwhile, finds himself tangled in a web of his own making. His pursuit of power brings him closer to the corporate giants, but at a cost he doesn't see coming. They don't treat him as a partner, they treat him as a pawn. And as Nate struggles to keep his family together, he realizes that ambition doesn't just break enemies, it breaks the people you love most. The tension between him and Tommy reaches a boiling point, where rivalry becomes war, and one man's survival may mean the other's destruction. What drives the suspense in Season 2 is the slow, relentless revelation of hidden truths. Land deeds that were thought to be worthless suddenly become keys to untapped fortunes. Old tragedies that everyone wanted to forget resurface with new evidence, pointing fingers at men who built their reputations on lies. Even the ground itself seems cursed, with every new well drilling deeper into the past and unearthing secrets that should have stayed buried. For Tommy, each discovery feels less like victory and more like a warning. The more he learns, the closer he comes to losing everything. And then comes the question of loyalty. Families that once stood together begin to fracture under the pressure. Wives and children, once shielded from the business, are pulled into the fire. Every decision Tommy makes is now weighed against the safety of those he loves. But safety has a price, and sometimes that price is silence. The choice he faces is brutal: protect the truth and risk destroying his family, or bury the truth and live with the weight of lies. Neither path promises peace. As the season unfolds, the oil fields transform into something more than just a workplace. They become a symbol of sacrifice, of power, and of blood spilled for ambition. Every pipeline laid carries not just oil, but the memories of those who paid the ultimate price. And every rig that rises is a reminder that the pursuit of wealth leaves scars that no amount of money can heal. By the middle of the season, Tommy realizes he is not just fighting for land or oil, he is fighting for his soul. The corporations want him silent. Nate wants him crushed. And his own past wants him broken. The walls are closing in, and every ally he has left may already be compromised. Yet Tommy knows one truth that keeps him moving forward: the most dangerous man in the oil patch is the one who has nothing left to lose. And if they strip him of everything, he may become that man.